Hey, up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek. We've got some Star Wars news. Or potential news. I don't know. But it is news, and it's from Variety. So I make myself teachy tiny, and we'll look at this article, shall we? So off I go. There we go. And let's get the article up. This is from Variety. As I said, there we go. Patty Jenkins says, I am now back doing the Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron. After Wonder Woman 3 fell apart, I now owe Lucasfilm a draft, says Zach Sharf and Patty Jenkins. And there she is, the lovely Patty Jenkins. Not the best photo. I don't think she's super hot. Just not in that photo. But anyway. Says me, oil painting Steve here. Right, Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron might not be dead after all. The project, centred on fighter pilots in the Star Wars universe, was first announced at the end of 2020 and was put on the calendar for a December 2023 theatrical release. By September 2022, however, Disney had pulled the title from its release schedule. Variety reported last May that Rogue Squadron was no longer in active development at Lucasfilm. In a new interview on the Talking Pictures podcast, is that the BBC one? Is that could be, I don't know. Jenkins announced that she is now again in development on the script for Rogue Squadron following the dissolution of her planned Wonder Woman 3 at Warner Brothers and DC Studios. I suspect Batman Part 2 may get dissoluted, or whatever the word is. Variety has reached out to Lucasfilm for comment. When I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3 and I started working on that, we talked about, well, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we started the deal for that to happen. Interesting, started the deal, so maybe lawyers were involved and things were signed. Jenkins said, when Wonder Woman 3 then went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was beginning, so I now owe a draft of Star Wars. So we will see what happens there. Who knows? I just hope it's better than the draft of Wonder Woman 84. Excuse me. They have a hard job in front of them. What's the first movie they're going to do? Jenkins added about Lucasfilm. They have other directors who have been working, but I am now back on doing Rogue Squadron. We'll see what happens. We need to get it to where we're both super happy with it. Rogue Squadron is still not yet confirmed to be officially happening, but Jenkins is working on a script for it. She said she would be absolutely happy to make it, adding, the emotion of Star Wars and what it stands for is something so beautiful in this world. Remember, in the little trailer that they did, and she did, when she were rollerblading down a runway, she was talking about her dad, who was a fighter pilot, and he gave his life for his country and all that. And she made that emotional, so it was, a personal thing for her to do a movie about, space fighter pilots in the Star Wars universe. I'm not saying a galaxy far, far away, because I haven't got a drink to do my drinking game. Anyway, so I will continue. The emotion of Star Wars and what it stands for is something so beautiful in this world. If I can do something beautiful and do something that serves that audience, I would love to do it. Jenkins have been developing a third Wonder Woman to star Gal Gadot, which appears to be one reason Rogue Squadron stalled in the first place. By the way, congratulations to Gal Gadot, who's given birth to her daughter, Ori. Or is it Ori? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled O-R-I. Which is, I think, like Hebrew for something lovely. I can't remember the exact meaning, but it means something really nice, like, an angel or whatever. But obviously the Ori were the baddies in Stargate SG-1, weren't they, in the last 2 seasons? But, we'll gloss over that. Hallowed are the Ori. Anyway, in December 2022, however, news broke that Wonder Woman 3 had fallen apart after Warner Brothers leadership passed on Jenkins' treatment for the sequel. Jenkins publicly exited the project. The news hit shortly after James Gunn and Peter Safran took the reins of DC Studios announced they would be overhauling the DC universe, which led to speculation that Jenkins had rebuffed efforts to reshape Wonder Woman 3 to fit into their DC universe. I never walked away, Jenkins shared in a post on Twitter at the time. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. Roughly an hour after Jenkins posted her statement, Gunn supported her on Twitter, replying, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with you were only pleasant and professional. Jenkins said on the Talking Pictures podcast that her experience with Wonder Woman is over for the time being, easily forever. Dun dun dun. She directed both Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, making her one of the most prominent female directors in Hollywood. Remember, I think she won an Oscar, didn't she, for Monster? Oh, Patty Jenkins was it? I think it was. Starring Charlize Theron. They aren't interested... if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. They aren't interested in doing any Wonder Woman for the time being, Jenkins said. It's not an easy task with what's going on with DC. James Gunn and Peter Safran have to follow their own heart into their own plans. I don't know what they're planning on doing or why, so I have sympathy for what a big job it is, and they have to follow their heart and do what they've got planned. And there's the... Talking Pictures. Oh no, it's not BBC, it's Max. But the BBC does have a programme called Talking Pictures, which is why I thought it might have been to do with that. So there we go. So Wonder Woman 3 is not happening, but she says she's working on Rogue Squadron, which is interesting. I know, I'm not going to shoot it down before it starts because she's a good director, Wonder Woman 84 notwithstanding. Although I did watch that all the way through. So it can't have been that bad, can it? I mean, it was. But I still watched it all the way through. I didn't turn it off in disgust. But it was still pretty terrible. But it must have been entertaining in some way for me to keep watching. Maybe it was just Gal Gadot. Anyway, so there we go. I hope it goes well. And to be honest, of all the Star Wars films that are slated to come out, I'd be more interested in this than any of the others. More than Mandalorian and Grogu, way more than the Rey movie, and Taika Waititi or any of these others that were supposed to be making films. The Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie, I would like to see because she's a pretty good director. Just not a great writer, but anyway, we'll see what happens. See if there's any announcements in the coming weeks. We will see, won't we? Right, so we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.